So not last week, Monday. Monday we would have completed what we were doing on Monday. Monday we reviewed the primary key. We looked at and we reviewed exercise 4 once again. Then we looked at the assignment. So we didn't get time to complete 8.3 homework. So today we will be completing that homework. That's gonna be 8.3. Good. So I hope you guys would have completed our homework. I hope you did the database. That would have helped you to understand the homework also. So let's get started with the first question. In first question, use figure 8.11 to answer the following question. So what is 8.11? Oh, this table here. You're required to use this table, these three tables here, to answer the following questions. So question A, state whether pairs of tables have a one-to-one relationship or a one-to-many relationship. So the lines would indicate the relationship. Alia, can you tell me what relationship they have? The customer and the order and the order and the product?
Sharing is a relationship. What do you mean? Like
The types of relationship. There's two types of relationship we would have looked at. There is a one-to-one and
one to
one-to-many.
one to many. Yes, sir. So wait. Sir, each of these things is one. No, sir, one to many.
So the line that you're seeing there is indicating the relationship. So between the customer and the product, what kind of relationship is it? Yeah, between
Sir,
customer and order.
sir, customer order, that's one to one.
One-to-one.
Yes, sir.
And what about product and order?
Sir, once again, one to one.
One-to-one. Is there a particular reason why you're saying one-to-one?
Sir, at first I said it was one to many because, sir, the order going to both customer and product.
Uh-huh.
So, sir, I changed my mind. Sir, one to many.
Why one-to-many?
Because, sir, both of these things coming right back into order, sir. The line
Uh-huh.
from product is in order and customer is in order too.
There's a specific explanation that I'm looking for that you need to state as to why it's one-to-one or why it's one-to-many. Do you have an idea?
No, sir.
Alright, Naresh is gonna help us. Naresh, come closer so that he can hear you.
Is a one to many because it's linking with foreign keys.
They can't hear you.
Is a one to many because it's linking with foreign keys.
Okay. Anybody else? Anybody else want to try?
Sorry, I didn't hear what Nara said.
He said it's one to many because it's using foreign keys, but that's not what I was looking for. the question is asking, let me go back to the question. The question is asking, state whether pairs of tables have one-to-one or one-to-many. You need to state whether they have one-to-one or they have one-to-many. So, Alia is between one-to-one and one-to-many. Can anyone give me an explanation as to which it is and why?
Sir, can I go?
Yes.
Sir, I say one to one because the primary key in one table matches with the primary key in the second table in another table.
Okay. Anybody else?
Sir, I still stick with one to many.
What were you saying, Alia?
Sir, I still stuck with one to many, sir, but I'm not too sure with the explanation.
Okay, we're looking for that explanation as to why it is one-to-many.
Sir, I think it's one too many because it's taking one field from the customer's table and putting it against many in the order table because they all relate to each other.
That is exactly it. The one-to-one is referring to the fields, the data in that field. So, if it was one-to-one, then in the customer table where you have 1122, then in the order table there will only be 111 of that 1122. So for example, how in the order table you are seeing 1128, you're seeing it 3 times. That is many, it's not one. So that's what is meant by the one-to-one or the one-to-many. If there was only one of the field inside of the order table and one of it inside the customer table, then it would have been one-to-one. It would have been matching one inside of the customer table and matching another inside of the order table. But as you can see, there is many of the customer ID, that single customer ID, in the order table, and that is why it is one-to-many. Both of them are one-to-many because if you look at the order table, the product ID, you will see the product IDs are repeating itself. So once the field is repeating itself, it is on the many side, and the relationship is going to be one-to-many. If there was only one of the field, if it was not repeating, then it would have been one-to-one. You guys following?
Yes, sir.
Good. So 1B, state the primary key in each table. So that's going to be for Brian. What is the primary key in each one of the table?
Sir, CID.
So in the customer table, what is the primary key?
CID.
CID, good. In the product table, what would be the primary key?
PRID.
PRID, very good. And in the order table, what would be the primary key?
CID.
CID.
Yes, sir.
Final answer?
Sir, I think CID and PRID.
Why the two of them?
Sir. So because it both represents something unique, like unique.
Yes, why are we using both CID and PRID? What does the primary key have to be?
Sir, I think CID and PRID.
What does the primary key have to be?
Sir, what does that?
What does a primary key have to be?
Yes.
What does a primary key have to be?
Sir, one. Sir? Sir.
Yes, I'm listening.
Sir, I don't think it's the ID and PRID because the primary key is only supposed to be one. Only supposed to be one primary key.
Yes, it's only supposed to be one primary key. Does anybody have the answer as to why? What is a primary key? What feature does it have?
Sir, it's unique.
It's unique. A primary key is unique. We said that on Monday. We were looking at keys. A primary key is unique. That is why the customer ID, the CID in the customer table could have been used. And that is why the PRID in the product table could be used. But in the order table, CID and PRID are no longer unique. That is why they cannot be used. But in this case here, you would have to combine the keys together. Basically combining the fields together. And what kind of key do you call that?
Composite key.
Composite key. So this is how we get a primary key, by making a composite key. That's what we looked at Monday. When you take two fields, when you cannot use them individually, you combine them together to make your primary key. You understand, Alia?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, C, state the first names of the customers who ordered round tables. So, what are the names of the customers that ordered round tables? Aaron?
Sir, Luted, and Anwar.
Annual. So if we look at the product table, so the question is asking who ordered round tables. If we look at the product table, we'll see that round table has an ID of 3639. And if we look at the order table, we will see that is attached to 1128. So that is Ted Lu, which is correct. And P3639. Do we have another one? One at the bottom here, 1167. And wall. Very good, Aaron, that is correct. So the next question, that's going to be D, 1D. State the description of the product that was ordered by the customer with ID 1145. What is the description of that product? That's going to be Durrani.
Sir, pocket diary.
Pocket diary. So it's asking for 1145, that customer there. And we match it with the order, P3122. We go to the order table, P3122, pocket diary is correct. Very good. So, E, how many customers place orders? Jasmine.
Sir, 7 customers.
7 customers. Final answer?
No. 3.
3. Why 3 now?
Wait, no, 4.
Why 4?
Because some of them are repeating, so it's the same customer.
Exactly. So remember, one ID represents one customer. So if it's repeating, it's the same customer. So it's only 4 different ID. So it's 4 customers place orders here. See how simple the homework is? So question 2, answer the questions based on these 2 tables in a sports database. So the first one, A, state the names of the table. What is the names of the table? That's gonna be Jeremiah. Jeremiah. Somebody call Jeremiah and tell him to wake up in the meantime. Jomani.
Sir, athlete and division.
Athlete and division. That is correct. So we have the athlete table and we have the division table. Very good. So B, how many records are there in the athlete table? Jonathan?
Sir, 5.
5. Why 5?
And record the row of data.
Very
5
good.
row data.
Very good. A record is a row of data, and you only see in 5 rows here, so that is 5 records. Now, how many fields are in the division table? Let's see who get this one right. Khadija.
Sir, there are 2 fields in the division table.
2 fields. Well, I'm checking something. Yes, your answer is correct. There's 2 fields. Why do you say 2 fields, though, Khadija?
Sir, because there's code and category. Those would be the fields.
Right. So code and category are your fields. So there's only 2 fields in the division table. Alright, give me a second. Let me check something. Good. So the next question, how many fields are in the division table? Keelan. Oh, we already have? Yeah.
Sorry, I already did that one.
Yeah. So that's going to be D now. In each table, state the most appropriate field that can be used as a primary key. Keelan. Keelan, are you with us?
Yes, sir.
D. What's the most appropriate key in each of the table? Keelan?
Yes, sir, you can hear me?
We're now hearing you.
Um, You mean rest? Yes. I agree with it, Sir would be code, sir, as the all the stuff in there unique. The
So,
field is unique.
so for the division table, what would you choose as the primary key?
Code.
Good. And in the athlete table, what would you choose as the primary key?
Athlete ID, sir.
Good, very good. So code and athlete ID are the suitable primary keys. E. State the name of the table and the field that is a foreign key. State the name of the table and the field that is a foreign key. Mahima?
Sir, code and division.
So state the name of the table. So which table?
Division.
Division table. And which field is the foreign key?
Code.
Okay. Michaela, what do you say?
Sorry, I didn't get to hear that.
Question E. Say the name of the table and the field that is a foreign key. What you said, you didn't do it or you didn't understand the question?
Yes, sir.
So what do you have for that question?
Sir, I have under 13.
Okay, Michaela says under 13. Nicholas, what do you have?
Sir, I have athlete code.
And why do you have athlete code?
Because they said a foreign key is when there's primary key in one, and since we already subject code is the primary key in division, code has the other code in athlete has to be the foreign key.
Very good, very good. So the code in the division table is the primary key. And once that primary key is being used in another table, it is called a foreign key. So the table would have been the athlete table and the code is the foreign key. So F, identify the field that is used to link the tables. What field is going to be used to link the tables? Xavier? Xavier?
Yes, sir. Sorry, my mic wasn't working.
Okay, where are we? F? Still not hearing you, Xavier.
Yes, sir. Coming down.
Boss or plane?
Both, sir.
It's like that cargo ship.
Sir, I had code.
Code? Why do you have code?
Sir, because it was in both tables.
Because
It was in both tables.
it's in both tables. Very good. So the question is asking identify the field F, identify the field that is used to link the tables. So you would normally use a field that is similar to both tables. So in this case, it's going to be code. So that's what can be used to link the tables. So G, explain whether the tables are linked as one-to-one or one-to-many. I'll give this one to Alio. Let me see if you understand the first one. One-to-one or one-to-many, Alio?
Sir, this one is so one to many.
And why did you choose one-to-many?
Sir, because in the code for the athlete table, we have two of these on the 13, and sir, in the division, we also have one of that on the 13, sir. So one to many.
Very good. So you can clearly see that on one side you have a many side. It's repeating itself, it's many. On the other side, it's only one of it. So it's one to many. So H. Explain whether the row for the under 30 division can be deleted from the division table. So the row, explain whether the row for the under 13 division table, so this row here under 13, can we delete it from the division table? Explain. That's going to be going to Savitri.
Sir, because that you won't be able to delete it because there's still information that's being it has a relationship with code in the athletes table. So if you delete that, then there's still going to be information in the athletes table. So it's not going to be like accurate if you delete that. So you'd have to remove the information in the athlete table, that's saying like under 13, and then you would be able to remove the under 13 in the division table.
Very good. So in a nutshell, can we delete under 13 from the division table? Yes or no?
No, sir.
No, we cannot. And you gave a nice explanation as to why. Because we have a relationship between code inside of the division table and code inside of the athlete table. It's going to link those two fields together. So the code inside of the athlete table is dependent. It's depending on the code inside of the division table. So you cannot remove it from the division table because it's already inside of the athlete table. You would have to remove all of it first from the athlete table, then you would be able to remove it from the division table. So that was H. We're now at I. Titina, explain whether the row of data for athlete 142 can be deleted from the athlete table. Can we delete 142?
No, sir, because it is linked.
Does it? Unique? Jordan?
Sir, no, it won't. You cannot delete it because it is linked to the division table. It's data.
Okay. Naresh, any input? Okay, so Naresh says it can be deleted also. Anybody with any different answer?
Yes, sir. Have it can be deleted because if you delete the row here, it will remove itself from the other table. It doesn't matter if it's linked. Nothing.
So can you delete 142 row 142 from athlete?
Yes, sir.
That is correct. You can delete it. So the athlete table is using information from the division table. So you're going to be putting information into the athlete table. Because you're going to be using the code from the division table. So you can say athlete is dependent upon division. What is in division? So whatever we type in athlete, we can delete it. I see now Daniel is joining. So 142, row 142 in athlete, you can't delete it because it's not dependent upon anything. It's inside of the division table, you cannot delete anything because it's already typed inside of the athlete table. It's already linked. See, Daniel Hodge, you came just in time to answer question J. Write the names of the seniors. What are the names of the seniors?
Sir. Neil Hall, Figman, McJig, Ellie Gerard.
So Figman, McJig, and who else is that?
Ellie Gerard.
Ellie Gerard. So why those two persons?
Sir, because if they were, well, so they're under 20 but not under 13. And for Figman, he's over 20, so
The question is asking for the names of the seniors. Anybody has the answer? Yes.
Sir Figman.
So Nare said Figman, Brian said Figman. So only Figman, if you look at it, only Figman has the code of O20. And if you look at the code which stands for O20 is for seniors. So only Figman is a senior. So the last question. Jeremiah left. Who didn't answer? Alright, we can go back to Aaron. What division is athlete 231 in? Athlete 231, what division is that person in?
Sir, the under 13 category.
On the 13 category. Very good. So 231, you go straight across the record, you see U13, you check the division table, U13 stands for under 13. And notice how they use their codes, how effective they use their codes, that you could simply see U13 and you could determine as on the 13, you could see U20, determine as on the 20, O20 is over 20, basically a senior. So that's how you need to structure your naming. When you're naming your fields, your tables, and so on, it should be that clear. So very good, you guys did well in the homework. Give yourselves a clap. Quarter 5, so... Oh, this is a short chapter. So, we're going to start chapter 8.4. And chapter 8.4's title is Capturing and Entering Data. Ashley. You're laughing the loudest. Alright, let me finish off this chapter. Give you guys the homework and the exercise to do. And that'll be it for the day. So, our reader is going to be Alia. You could read the first paragraph.
So you can start entering data once you have completed the table design. Design view allows you to enter field names, data types, and descriptions into your database table. Another view, datasheet view, allows you to enter raw data into each field of your database table. If you have selected a field as a primary key, make sure that there is always data in this field. To switch views between the datasheet and the design view, simply click the button in the top left-hand corner of the Access Program window.
Very good. So, for emphasis, we're gonna basically write down the steps that we need to take. So, step 1. I want you guys to take note of this. Step 1. When creating our database, what's the first thing that we need to do?
Sir, plan or something. Make a plan of everything you want to do with it, like all the fields and so on.
Yes, you could plan, but after that, we could say was the first main step. So say you don't plan. You don't plan everything. Now where it says open a new database. So basically, create a database. Remember when you go to Access, it asks you to create a blank database, to create a new database. So that's the first step there, to create your database. Now after you created your database, step 2, what's step 2? What do you have to do next? Ashanti? I like Ashanti ignore me. Yes, class. After you create your database, what you gotta do next?
Name it.
Name the database. That's in the same process of creating the database. So you already have your database open. What's the next step?
Create your tables.
Very good. Create your tables. So create tables. So you create the tables. What's step 3? So what do you call that stage? After you create the tables, what do you have to do?
Sir, create your fields.
So what do you call that stage? When you put it in your fields, when you put it in your data type.
Designing.
Designing. Very good. So design tables. So you create your database, you create your tables, and you design your tables. So you design your tables, you put in your field names, you put your data type, you put your field properties. All of those things are part of the design. What's the next part of the design that we looked at? A main part of the design.
Sir, creating relationships between the data.
Relationships is gonna be you can say that's 5. And Naresh says primary keys. So relationship gonna be 5, and your primary key gonna be around step 4. So you create your database, you create the tables, design your tables, you put your field name, your data type, your field properties, so on. You set your primary key, you create your relationships, and step 6, What are we doing at this stage? After you finish designing,
Enter all your data.
very good, you enter data. So these are the steps for your database. You can say it's not standard steps or any specific guideline or so, but these are, you can say, the logical steps that you would take. You create a database, then your tables, design it, and then you start putting in your data. So that's the stage where we're at right now in our notes. We're at that entering data stage. We already covered all of the data type, fields, and so on. We covered the keys, and we covered the relationship. Now we're at entering the data. So, as I would have showed you guys in Access, in the Home tab, we're on the Home tab here, and in the, I gotta open a table. Inside of the table, you're gonna see this View option here. So remember, when you click on the arrow, it takes you to the Design view. But when you want to enter data, you need to choose the Datasheet view. At the bottom right here also, the bottom right, so at the bottom here, where the date is, the bottom right, you can change the view here also. There's the Design view, that is the Datasheet view. So remember, the Design view is where you design your table. The Datasheet view is where you put the data into your table. Next paragraph, Brian, you could read that for us.
A form is another way to enter data. It is a graphical representation of a table datasheet. You can give the form a different name from your table. They both still work on the same information and same data. This means you can change a record in a form. It will also be changed in the table.
Good. So a form is basically another method that you can use to enter data into your table. If we look back at the customer table, the bookshop database here, this has three tables: the customer table, product, and order. And in order for you to input data, or let me show you from the database that I have here. We have the customer table. If we want to enter customer information, we have to open the customer table, type in the information, and so on. If we want to enter a product, we have to open the product table, type in the information. If we want to enter an order, we have to open the order table, enter the information. Now that's three tables we have to open in order to enter information. The form now will allow us to enter the information in one location. So instead of having three tables open, we can have one central location where we can enter information. So you see, this is an example of a form. One part of the form has the customer information. It has the first name, the last name. And at the bottom here, you can basically see this is the order table. So as you enter the customer information, first name and last name, you can enter what item that customer would have bought right in the same location. So you don't have to go opening multiple tables to enter information anymore. You can create a single location, which is a form, in order to enter the information. Now, what that means is that the form is linked to your table. So as you enter information into your form, it will be reflected in your tables, and as you enter information in your table, you will also see it back in your form. Now remember, once again, I would have told you guys that when you are putting any information into Access, you have to close what you have open. So sometimes what might happen is that when you enter information in a form, it doesn't update automatically, it doesn't update right away in the table, because you might have the table open and it doesn't update. So you would just have to close the table in order to be able to see the information in the table. Close the table, reopen it, and you will be able to see the information. The next two paragraphs, Daniel Hodge.
A form is very good to use when you have many fields in a table. It means you can see all the fields in one screen. If you were in the datasheet view, you would have to keep scrolling to see a field at the far left or right. Sometimes you may need to see one record and the related data on that record in one form. For example, you may wish to see all orders for one customer. It is useful to create a form of the customer data with a subform, showing the products ordered along with their costs, quantities ordered, and whether they are on discount.
Good. So another use for the form is to create a form with a subform. So that is actually what you're seeing in this image here. So the main form is going to be that customer table with that customer information. Input in the customer first name, input in the customer last name. I remember all of this would have been in tables, and you would not have been able to see which customer would have made what orders. So by creating a subform now, which is this order table that you're seeing at the bottom here, it could be any other table. This is the subform part of the form. Here you can see what orders this one customer would have made. So in the main form, you could actually change the customer name to, I think Anwal was another customer. And when you change that customer name at the top here, at the bottom here, you'll be able to see what orders that customer would have made. So now that we're getting into forms, when you guys finish your assignment that I would have given you, I will show you how to create the form, and you will see how you can get to input the information into one location. You could actually do it now if you want, because if you go through the exercise, it will show you how to create the form, and instead of having multiple tables open to input your information, you can have all of the necessary fields in one location to create your assignment. So you could have the student name at the top here with the student information, and then at the bottom here you have the subform where you can put in what subject the student doing, what grade the student got, and all of those necessary information. Alright, it's 3 o'clock, so we're gonna stop here for today. So in review of what we looked at today, we looked at the homework and we looked at the form. One thing to remember about the form is that it is linked to the table. Always remember that, it's linked to the table. So whatever you have in the form will be reflected in the table. Whatever is in the table will be reflected in the form also. Data is stored in your tables, so you have many tables with data. But in order to see all of those tables in one location, you can create a form where you can see all the necessary fields that you want. Alright, if you guys don't have any questions on anything we looked at today, that's the end of today's class. Enjoy the rest of the day.
You too, sir.
You too.